So today we're going to have a lesson from Neil on irrigation, which I know you've all been asking about for ages. He's finally agreed to be interviewed.
So as an example, if you have a 5 metre long bed, it's about 1 metre wide.
Yeah.
You need 2 of these lines, 5 metre, 5 metre.
So our bed's over there.
They're 4.8, but it's 5 metre.
Right.
There will be enough drippers in there that will drip out 48 litres of water in an hour.
Okay.
So what I calculate is I put it on for half an hour. So you get about 24 litres. That's 2.5 watering cans per bed in only half an hour.
So it's 2 watering cans per bed per half an hour, and I've put an image of a watering can on the screen for you now.
Yeah. So that is, you imagine going around all our garden trying to do every bed 2 watering cans. So that's why we use it. The other beauty of drip irrigation, it's 90% effective for the water to get to the plant. Whereas when you use a hose or a watering can, the maximum you're going to get of the water going where you want it is 60%. This is what's called drip line irrigation.
Yeah.
It's made by a company called Hydroshore.
Yeah.
And I buy spacing with a dripper every 30 centimetres.
Okay.
So there's one there and there's one by my thumb.
Okay.
And it comes in a roll, 25 metres or 50 metres.
Okay.
Or even 100 metres.
Right.
It's up to you. And you cut it to whatever length you want.
So why do we use this dripper hose instead of the other ones that you can see that are available?
Okay, well, each of these little valves drips.
So there's a valve inside there.
Yeah, a little valve that's it negates the air. So then, because it uses the air to make sure there's no air bubbles come in,
right,
you can length 50, 60, 70 metres long, and the one at the end will get exactly the same as the one at the beginning.
And if it didn't have this valve hidden inside, it wouldn't work.
If
like
it's
that.
just a hole, it's a bit like soaker hose. All the water comes out in the first metre, and at 6 metres further down, nothing's coming out.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just a hole.
Right. So we've got our dripper hose. What's this?
This is the feeder hose, it's called.
Right.
It's the same dimensions, but there's no valves or holes in it.
Oh, okay. Right. So that's just to run the water to where you want it to go.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Again, 25 metres, whatever you need.
Yeah.
Shall I go through this?
Yeah. Let's go through this next.
Okay. So this is a valve.
Yeah.
About £1.50.
Right.
This is called a T-junction.
Right.
About £1.20.
Yeah.
This is a joiner, in case you make a mistake. Occasionally you'll get an animal, I think it's probably mice, that will nibble at the pipe to get some water in hot spells. Okay. But very rarely. Yeah. But you can joint. Okay. This is called an elbow, which you're going to get quite soon.
You wish.
Again, it's about £1, 80 pence. At the end of the run, there's 2 types of stoppers.
Okay, let's talk about those then.
So these are the stoppers, 2 types. This one feeds down the pipe first. Always put that on first, because as soon as you put this in, push it in, you can't get it off again. Okay. So the pipe goes there.
Can you soak it in hot water to get it off?
Yes, you can. We've done that before. So if you imagine the pipe's coming here, this one goes on here like that.
And that stops the water?
That just stops it, yeah.
That's the end?
That's the end. Okay. At the end of the run.
Right.
The other one that I had here, this one, your pipe, you've got your pipe, and then obviously this just fits in like that. So that would go on there. This one's got one on there, see?
Okay, so what's the difference between this one and the other stopper?
I prefer these ones, because you can take them off, put them on really easy. Yeah. I just couldn't get hold of those, so I had to buy these ones. But they're only 70p. Right. Okay, a lot of people use barb fittings. So you can get all this equivalent as a barb that looks like that, and you just push it on the pipe.
Okay.
My problem with the barb fittings is, as soon as the sun hits that,
Yeah.
or if your water pressure is too high,
Yeah.
they just pop off.
Right.
And I've seen cable ties, Jubilee clips, all trying to keep it on. And okay, these are like 10 pence each. But once you've bought these, you can reuse them.
And I expect there would have been a nightmare with that heat wave.
It's horrendous. All right, so how do you connect all this to your water supply, the tap? There's two ways. If you can't get supply pipe through a patio, then we can use this way, which we'll show you afterwards. So that's just a normal push on hose lock tap connector, hose connector.
Right.
You can use it that way, or you can buy these, which again, you connect your pipe in, and this one connects onto the actual tap itself. See?
Oh, it's screw fitting for a tap.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is 13-14 mil internal and 16 mil external, but you can buy different sizes, can't you? So why this size?
This is recommended for a pressure of 0.5 to 1.5.
Right, so people can check their water pressure with the manufacturer.
And also you go larger when you're more industrial scale growing.
Okay, so not us.
Not us. When you go, if you're under pressure, that's where you might need to get a pump.
Okay.
And you think, oh, that's expensive, but then soaker hose wouldn't work any better anyway. And then if your water pressure is too high, you can get a reducer,
right,
which reduces the pressure as it comes out the tap. But the easiest way is just turn the tap on half.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Start by putting one together, shall we? So Neil has cut the end here because this would have come on a whole reel.
And what you do, you need I just use a hacksaw.
Right.
And I'll show you these grips later. Always put this on first, because once this goes in,
yeah, it's a devil
now,
to get out.
You can use hot water to help you put it in, but I can never be bothered. I use the actual fitting. I'm going to do that. Pushed it in.
Yeah.
Now if you use hot water, it's softer, so it's not as hard.
Okay.
And then you just slide that up and just screw it up tight, hand tight.
Right.
Now what I do is I do it hand tight.
Right.
Once I've set up the whole thing,
right, then you go.
I turn on the water.
Right.
And I check for drips.
Fine.
And then all I do is, if I need to just give something a little quick tighten, just tighten it up with these.
Right.
But don't over tighten.
Because you'll break them.
Well, it's not that, you just end up pulling it away and it doesn't fit properly.
Oh, okay.
It's counterintuitive.
Right.
The tighter it gets, it can sometimes leak more.
Okay.
This is the bit I don't like, running around checking for drips. But once it's stopped, it's stopped. Okay, let me know you're talking. Okay, right, this one comes from that bed over there.
Right.
So that's the feed, it goes under.
Right.
You've got 1, 2, 3 lines that I'm going to put in before we plant it up.
Right.
Okay, the best way to get this bed's 1200 wide. So if you want 3 rows, measure the middle between there and there, measure the middle between there and there.
Right.
And then that's where your hoses are. Now, for dahlias, probably only put 2 lines in, because we're only going to have 2 rows of dahlias.
This is our tuber, which we're going to direct plant, and we're burying it so that it's just deeper than the crown. And Neil said to mention, we use a dripper hose here because the garden is just too big for us to hand water, and it's just above where the dahlia is going to be, which means we only have to switch the hose on for a few minutes.
But I've put the third ready in case you change your mind and put something smaller like stocks or snapdragons.
Okay.
So whatever we decide to plant here, dahlias 60 centimetre spacing, so one there, one there.
Okay, so 2 lines would go out.
Yeah, and I just leave that on there, stopping it, and that's it.
That's good. Yeah, well, it also means you can use it in the spring before the dahlias are ready to be planted.
Yes. When you irrigate up, try and section the different areas off, because if you're growing, like you put your dahlias in the ground mid-May, they don't need much water until they get up and running, but you might have all the autumn sown larkspur ammy that needs a lot of water. So you don't want to water the dahlias too much or the other one not enough. Right, the issue we have with this garden, because we keep adding,
Yeah.
we got valves and everything, but it's not a problem. So what I've done is this feeder pipe here comes out from under there, goes outside, and it's buried all the way. You can just see the line where I buried it in the grass, see?
Yeah.
And then it comes out, and this is a valve here. This valve here says Sweetpeas.
Right.
If you tap pan around the camera, it goes all the way down to the Sweetpeas. So, this valve here, it says 3 log beds, because we call them, there's 3 beds over there.
Okay. Pan the camera up.
Yeah. And you can see the 3 lines.
And some anemones and some ranunculus
Yes.
coming up.
Right, can I just say, the feeder pipe you bury, you need to be built more than 9 inches, which is about 25 centimetres, to be frost free.
Okay.
But we don't grow in the winter, so therefore you can be a bit less than that, and then we just drain the pipes for the winter. So because we drain it in the winter,
Yeah.
we don't leave it on. It doesn't have to be that deep,
Right.
because there's no point going really deep so it doesn't freeze if you leave all that above the surface. So I'll bury that in. That's the feed coming in.
Yeah.
This one's going to do this bed and this bed over there,
Yeah.
the valve.
Yeah.
This valve goes back and it goes across to one of the beds over there.
Yeah.
I'll label them so you don't forget.
You will need to label them for me.
If it's existing soil,
Yeah.
there's a cheap way if you do it this time of year, or if you just do this, do that, you can just push the pipe in so you don't have to dig a trench.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now obviously you need to get it quite deep.
I'm
Well-
not sure it would be such an easy job if it was me.
Well, you can't coordinate. So what I'm going to do here, what the thing I've got to explain is,
Yeah.
put it quite deep under the board, because once you get strimming, you don't want to.
Anything to catch.
Yeah. So what I'll do is, I'll come through here.
Using your hands, of course.
Yeah, use my hands. I'll go quite low,
Yeah.
so the pipe is right under.
Right under.
All right.
And that means it doesn't get strimmed.
Yes.
And then because all of these pipes were existing,
Just reusing them.
we're just reusing them. And because there's a lot of junctions, Neil's built a little seat so we can sit on the end of the
No,
flower
it's
bed.
not, it's not for your weight. No.
I'm light as a feather. I don't know what you're talking about.
You see, I've got another connection here.
Oh yeah.
So that goes to these beds over that side.
Right.
This one goes all down there. And then this pipe goes off and does that bed and the sweet pea. So I've got to make it all. So this is the feeder pipe.
Yeah.
But the good thing about all these joints, because you just tighten them up by hand, you can reuse. So I'll do that.
You've literally done the whole thing without buying any more kit, haven't
Yes.
you? Brilliant. Down now at the sweet peas. And you can see here the drip lines.
So this one here is fed from the one over there, which is fed from all the way back up there from that valve.
Yeah.
Got 2 lines, and I put this little valve on the end here for you. You pan it up just with a bit of pipe. See, if you want to fill a watering can down here, not back up at the greenhouse.
Yeah, because it's, let me just show them. It's quite a long walk if you've got 2 9-litre watering cans full up of water. They're heavy.
So here's the stop end, as you can see.
Right.
So
yeah.
that's there, and over there's a jointer. We got a hole in one of the valves or pipe, I can't remember which. So the beauty is you can just join it.
Thought you'd like to see a close-up of the joint to fix the leak.
And then these are the clips. Now we use clips to begin with because when the pipe comes, it's in a roll and it just wants to roll back up again.
Yeah.
But after a season, you can get rid of that clip. because it straightens itself out, especially with the warmth of the summer. This is a mess.
I did my best.
You didn't, look.
Why
You can't be bothered digging a hole. What's your problem?
Why have we got to make
Because if I put the hose there and that's higher, the water will go the easiest way, so they're never going to water.
Oh, okay, so the water will roll away from
Yes,
the plants.
yes.
Okay, well, that's a really good point.
Well, that's what I've been trying to say for 78 years.
I know, but I did do it the best I could.
No, you didn't. You didn't try.
I did try.
You did not try.
I did.
This is you go, oh, I've got a hole. That'll do. Right. So this is one we did at the end of last year because it's a new bed. But you must plant after you've positioned the lines.
Right.
Because you'll never get them in. So we've got the lines, and from each one of these drippers, it will spread 30 centimetres, the water, over about half an hour. So you don't need 30 because there are only 30 between them. So 15 centimetres, they spread, so you don't have to be around the drip line 100% planted.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and this gets turned on via the tap. Just tap connector. You take the gun off, put the tap hose pipe on, because I didn't want to dig through the nice new wood.
And the water is just through here. You come round with an outside tap, which Neil has put some bubble wrap round for the winter. So we just run the hose from here on the floor out to the bed a couple of times a week. Another bed here where we just use the connector, so the hose goes on
and it goes across, under, and it does all 8 beds.
And now it's all planted up, you can barely see the hoses. Let me show you.
So there's one hose with the T.
Yeah.
Another hose with the T.
Yeah.
Another hose with a T here. This T there says another T that goes under and does this bed over here.
Right.
This one carries on to the next one, and they've been down 6 years now.
Yeah.
And the connectors are still going, the hoses are still going. So once you've done it, that's it.
Oh, look, you can't see them now. Disappeared. So we thought you might like to see our irrigation system in action. So this is the polytunnel. Neil, can you turn the water on for me, please? And we have got 3 lines in the polytunnel going between all of the plants. Now you can hear that hissing. You're going to hear a whine in a minute, which will be the air coming out. That's the valves doing their job. And then slowly the hoses will start dripping. There we go. So Neil's lifted the hose for me so we can see. There it is. Let's move this loose out of the way. So that is going directly to the roots where the plants need the water. So now I've come all the way up to the other end of the polytunnel. Let's just get in amongst the foliage here. Lift that up. Can you see? It's watering equally all the way at the other end of the hose. And the great thing is you can water even in sunshine. Oh, there's a weed there. Let me get that. You can water in sunshine because the foliage is not getting wet. And then here you can see one of the stoppers doing their job right at the end of the line. So this is the only way that we could water a garden of this size on our own. There are 300 metres of hose pipe, dripper hose, just in a paddock alone.